हरे कृष्णा। धन्यवाद जी।
हरे कृष्णा, माता जी and Prabhu ji, Hare Krishna. Pranams to everyone. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी।
हरे
Pranams,
कृष्ण माता जी,
pranams
प्रणाम
माता जी, pranams माता जी, pranams to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता
हरे कृष्ण माता
हरे
जी।
कृष्णा माता जी,
हरे
pranams
कृष्ण
माता जी. Hare Krishna.
प्रणाम माता
हरे
जी।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Dandar Pranam. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी।
Hare Krishna. So, which verse are we doing today? 12?
Yes, माता जी.
Oh, Krishna. Nard Muni is speaking in cryptic language, It's hidden bhav. All right, let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jyavdhirayet Nashtaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 12. Okay, go ahead, Beckett. Narasimha Prabhuji. I'm going to be back in a second. Please go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। एक एकेश्वरस्तुर्यो भगवान् स्वाश्रय परः तम् अदृष्ट्वा भुवं पुंस किम् असत्कर्मभिः भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Thank you. Madhumay Krishna Kant Mataji. Hare Krishna. Please go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। एक एवेश्वरस्तुर्यो भगवान् स्वाश्रयः परः तम् अदृष्ट्वा अभवं पुंसः किम् असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत्। थैंक यू माता जी। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you. Chitra Mohini Mataji. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी। प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। एक एवेश्वरस्तुर्यो भगवान् स्वाश्रया परः तमादृष्टा भवं पुंसः किम् असत्कर्माभिर्भवेत्। हरे कृष्णा माता जी। थैंक यू माता जी।
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Madhusoni Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी।
And
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। एक एवेश्वरस्तुर्यो भगवान् स्वाश्रय परः तं दृष्ट्वा भवं पुंसः किं सत्कर्मभिः भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी। थैंक यू।
Thank you. Pranandani Madhavi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। एक एवेश्वरस्तुर्यो भगवान् श्रेयः परः तमदृष्टां भवं पुंसः किम् असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, थैंक यू।
Thank you. Shubha Rao Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
And Pranam.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। एक एकेश्वरस्तुल्यो भगवान् स्वाश्रय परः तमदृष्ट्वा भवं पुंसः किमसत्कर्मभिर्भवेत्। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Krishna. एका एवेश्वर्या तुर्यो भगवान् स्वाश्रयः परः तम अदृष्ट्वा भवं पुंसा किम असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत् एकः one indeed eva indeed ishvaraha the supreme controller turya the fourth transcendental quality bhagavan the supreme personality of godhead swa ashraya independent being his own shelter para beyond this material creation tam him adrishtva not seeing abhavam who is not born or created pumsa of a man kim what benefit asat karma bhi with temporary fruitive activities bhave there can be. Translation by His Divine Grace, Shabbat Ki Jai. Narad Muni had said that there is a kingdom where there is only one male. The Haryashvas realized the purport of this statement. The only enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who observes everything everywhere. He is full of six opulences and fully independent of everyone else. He is never subject to the three modes of material nature, for he is always transcendental to this creation. If the members of human society do not understand him, the Supreme, through their advancement in knowledge and activities, but simply work very hard like cats and dogs all day and night for temporary happiness, what will be the benefit of their activities? Purport by His Divine Grace Shabbat Ki Jai. Narad Muni had mentioned a kingdom where there is only one king with no competitor. The complete spiritual world, and specifically the cosmic manifestation, has only one proprietor or enjoyer, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond this material manifestation. The Lord has been therefore described as Turya, existing on the fourth platform. He has also been described as Abhav. The word Bhav means takes birth, comes from the word Bhu, to be. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 9, Bhutva, Bhutva, Praliyate. The living entities in the material world must be repeatedly born and destroyed. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, is neither Bhutva nor Praliyate. He is eternal. In other words, he is not obligated to take birth like human beings or animals, which repeatedly take birth and die because of ignorance of the soul. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is not subjected to such changes of body, and one who thinks otherwise is considered a fool. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanum ashritam. Narad Muni advises that human beings not waste their time simply jumping like cats and monkeys without real benefit. The duty of the human being is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमामि विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशोधारिणे. Narad Muni had said that there is one kingdom where there is only one male. The Haryashvas realized the purport of this statement. The only enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who observes everything everywhere. He is full of six opulences and fully independent of everyone else. He is never subject to the three modes of material nature, for he is always transcendental to this material creation. If the members of the human society do not understand him, the Supreme, through their advancement in knowledge and activities, but simply work very hard like cats and dogs all day and night for temporary happiness, what will be the benefit of their activities? Yeah, so we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, which is called as the Prescribed Duties of the Mankind, chapter number 5, which is called as the Narad Muni cursed by
Prajapati Daksha.
Narad Muni cursed by Prajapati Daksha. Who is speaking this verse? To who?
Narada Muni is speaking
To who?
to the
To
Haryasa,
Haryashvas. Who are Haryashvas?
the sons of Prajapati Daksha.
Very nice. One person is understanding. Yes, the sons of Prajapati Daksha, who had gone to perform austerities at a place where river Sindhu meets the ocean, and they are performing austerities because actually by performing austerities and bathing in the river and touching the river every day, they are developing the nature of a Paramhansa. But because the duty calls for, you know, progeny, calls for the creation of the progeny, they are subduing that Paramhansa part of their existence and are still willing to go ahead and get the progeny started or the order of their father. But Narad Muni catches that. Our Supreme Personality of Godhead directs, sends a spiritual master to a sincere soul in the form of Narad Muni. And Narad Muni catches that psyche, that particular Paramhansa aspect, and then starts to fan that little spark of detachment from material activities and attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the hearts of all these boys. And we studied in verse number 7, right? This is from verse number 7, that there is a kingdom where there is only one male. And what is the purport? The purport of the statement is that there is only one enjoyer. Okay, there's only one enjoyer, and the enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kingdom means this universe, spiritual universe, material universe. Only one male means the only enjoyer. Okay, and they're understanding that that the purpose of the procreation will be to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Narvani is telling them that actually you're so immature that you actually don't know the extremities of the earth. Remember that discussion? You don't know what is the extremities of the earth, and you're going to bring forth somebody, a soul into a creation who is also going to get lost in these extremities, meaning that a conditioned soul, once become conditioned, cannot get out of the complexities created by the material nature by on its own accord. So better to work on your own liberation rather than following the so-called norm and getting entangled in a very ordinary but ordinary but what did Prabhupada say? Ordinary but complicating process of material existence. So here he is saying that understand or dedicate your life to understand that one enjoyer. So one may question that I'm going to dedicate all my life just to understand one enjoyer, just all my life, every single moment of my life. Krishna also says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmara Yuddhacha. Or so many times in Bhagavad Gita, he says, think of me, Manmana Bhav Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, right? Or give me Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. What are the things you can think from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna emphasizes that we must only think of him? Just him. What other things can you cite from Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, yat karoshi, yat jaroshi, yat jahoshi, yat ashnoshi, tadasi, yat. Yes, so whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give away as a charity, do it as an offering for me. Very nice. What else? Where else he says? This me says.
Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam
Yes.
pravartate iti matva
Ti matva
bhajante
bhajante
ma
ma.
buddha bhava
Sarvadharman parityaja.
Mamekam
Sarvadharman
sharam.
parityaja.
Wonderful, wonderful. Keep coming. Where
Manmanama
else?
Bhakti.
Okay,
माताजी
yeah.
भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं
Maheshwaram.
सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां
Gyatva mam
शान्तिं
shantim
शान्तिं
rachati. Very nice. Where else? Where else?
प्राणं बोधयन्ति परस्परं मच्चितमत्गत प्राणं बोधयन्ति परस्परं.
Bas. Okay, yes. So my devotees dwell on me. Okay, very nice. Where else? Where else? Saying just me.
mamaivansho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana.
Sanatana. Yes. Manashashtani Indrani Prakriti Sadikarshati. See, so many places Krishna is saying, think of me, do for me, just come to me, don't go anywhere else. If anybody is going anywhere else, they're not of supreme intelligence. Only me. So many times Krishna says me. So one may question that means that we need to dedicate all our life, every single second of our life, just to dedicate our life to Krishna. Oh, that's too much. One can say that, oh, that's too much. Where am I in this relationship, right? We ask this question that why does some relationships in the material world become so burdensome and it becomes so heavy to carry because the person asks that where am I in this relationship? Where am I? But Krishna consciousness is not like that. You know why? Because Krishna is explained by these two adjectives. He is explained as Turyaha and Abhava. Right, Prabhupada is explaining the meaning, Turya and Abhava. Whatever questions we are asking, whatever contemplations we are developing in this particular domain of existence where we are developing within the three domains: past, present, future, or goodness, passion, ignorance, or upper planetary system, middle planetary system, lower planetary system. Right? What else? Or the three Vishnus, Mahavishnu, Karadaksha Vishnu, Shridaksha Vishnu. So, like that, we are developing on maintenance, creation, annihilation. Everything, every thought that we are developing is based on the three dimensions which are dictating. So even if somebody is asking this question, oh, I'm going to dedicate all my life to Krishna, I'm going to dedicate every single second of my existence to just think of Krishna and do work for Krishna, oh, that's too much. He's asking too much. But understand that that analysis and that verdict that one is arriving in is only in the context of the three domains. But Krishna is not in three domains. It's like saying, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, Indrani parani ahur, Indriya se para manaha. Manastu para buddhir, buddhi se, what is the last thing? Parastu saha.
यो बुद्धे परतस्तु सः यो बुद्धे
Yo
परतस्तु सः
buddhi parastu saha. So Indrani parani ahur. So higher than the dull senses is the higher than the dull matter is the working senses. Higher than the working senses is the mind. Higher than the mind is the intelligence. Higher than the mind intelligence is the soul. Right? So if soul is higher than the intelligence, if intelligence is higher than the mind, if mind is higher than the senses, if senses are higher than the dull matter, then let me ask you this question, that can we expect mind to understand what intelligence is? Because we are saying intelligence is higher than the mind. Can we expect mind to understand what intelligence is?
No,
Yes.
no, Mataji, can't understand.
So can we expect intelligence, mind, working senses, dull matter to understand what soul is?
No.
But that's what we are using to understand what soul is. You see, that's where the gap is. That is why Narad Muni is specifically pointing this mistake out, that we are trying to understand Krishna, but Krishna is above the domain of our understanding because he's Turiya, he's a fourth dimension. Okay, and he's Abhava, he doesn't even take birth. We take birth, we grow, we die. Again, three domains. Right? So understand that this contemplation is not going to stand true in context of understanding Krishna because of the difference in the interface of understanding. It's like saying, like I gave example from Bhagavad Gita, that I'm going to use my intelligence to understand what soul is. Yes, we can use our spiritual intelligence, but there is a way to generate or awaken the spiritual intelligence. Yes, we can awaken our spiritual mind. Yes, by the Videhi Sadhana Bhakti, we can do that. But if somebody is not doing Videhi Sadhana Bhakti and is becoming a very big philosopher and is trying to write on God and is not following any parampara, don't get fooled, because Krishna is clearly saying that it's not possible. So Narad Muni is emphasizing, listen, you want to go and procreate and populate the universes on the order of your father, who is Daksha. First of all, is Daksha a pure devotee? Huh?
No, Mataji.
No, Mataji.
But Daksha definitely got the darshan of the Lord. So he is higher than us. So with all due respect to who Daksha is. But if we compare the standing of Daksha and Narad Muni. Can you expect Daksha to understand who Narad Muni is?
No, Mataji.
Why not?
Because he is on the material platform only, Daksha.
Yeah, he's still
Yeah.
enamored by the three modes of material nature, right? He's still
Yeah.
Krishna himself is still enamored by the external energy of the Lord. But Narad Muni, but can you understand Narad Muni to understand who Daksha is, who all these Haryashvas are? Can Narad Muni see the whole context, or he's also bound?
Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Because he is on a higher platform, he can visualize everything what is going on below.
Yeah, because he's Tattvadarshi,
Yeah.
right? He's Tattvadarshi. He can see the Tattva, the eternal truth. Okay, but neither Daksha nor his sons neither are we Tattvadarshis. So our vision is limited by the three domains. But here comes a personality who is trying to teach us about Turiya, who's going to teach us about trying to teach us about Abhava, and who's trying to, empower us to go and understand who we are, who Krishna is in reality, in context, which is eternal and not temporary. And then whose instruction stands higher? Whose instruction stands higher, Daksha or Narad Muni?
Narad Muni.
Instructions stand higher.
So in our life, whose instructions stand higher? The instructions of our own intelligence and mind, where it may question that, oh, Krishna is mentioning so many times in Bhagavad Gita, think of me, surrender unto me, come to me, I'm yours. If you go somewhere else, you'll be lost. So many times he's saying. So whose instruction stands higher? The verdict or the noise or the voice of my own mind and intelligence at the present moment, who is questioning that Krishna is demanding too much, or Krishna's verdict, which is coming through the parampara of the acharyas who are Tattvadarshi, whose instruction is
Krishna's
more.
verdict.
It's our own
Krishna's
intelligence.
Acharya's instructions.
So even if now we are asked to follow something which is beyond our understanding, okay, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to do something which is beyond our experience. Let's be truthful here. Think of a situation where you were asked to do something, we were not comfortable, but you did it anyway. Think of a situation like how uncomfortable that thing was. Any situation in your life, have you faced any situation like that in your life? Each one of you, if I may request, that you were asked to do something and you were not comfortable, but you did it, but it was not comfortable, but you did it. Yes or no? Any hard
Yes, Mataji.
decisions?
Yes,
Personal
Mataji.
front, professional front, community front. Yes, we have done that, right? We have done that. So we know it's not comfortable. But the growth is never in the comfort zone. To grow, one needs to become comfortable in the uncomfortable. Knowing that where my faith, the element of faith has to be applied. So if Narad Muni is trying to convince the Haryashvas to actually, now read the verse again. He's saying that if the members of the human society do not understand him, the Supreme, through their advancement in knowledge and activities, but simply work very hard like cats and dogs all day and night for temporary happiness, what will be the benefit of their activities? Is this question coming from the platform of brainwashing the Haryashvas, or is this coming from the platform of actually giving the real thing, which is not comfortable because we are not comfortable hearing this, but it's the reality. Where is it coming from?
It's actually
Yeah, so even if we are not comfortable, we must follow this. My friend was giving class today, Chiti Shakti. She spoke so well. She said, listen, whatever is eternal, how does it actually become eternal? How does, in this question, in this verse also, we are saying that do something which is going to be directed towards Turiya or Abhava, which is Krishna, and that way everything is eternal. Okay, and you're actually moving towards your real nature, which is eternal. So do something. If you're going to do something, if you're going to put your effort, if you're going to put your time, if you're going to put your energy, everything, that do something which is going to be eternally beneficial. Now, why are you falling short? So she said, how does something becomes really eternal? How does it become eternal? So she was explaining that it becomes eternal because we remove the time factor. So the time factor has to change its representation in our service, in our activities. She said, she gave example of eating food. Okay, you're eating food which is not offered to Krishna. Okay, it's very nutritious. Or there's so many people who are very pious who eat very like raw vegetables or raw fruits. Okay, very nice. They're eating directly from the ground. They're definitely higher than other people, but they're not in Krishna consciousness. It's not eternal. Why? Okay, you derive this nutrition, you get all this, but then what? The body is gonna die. The nutritional value will get utilized and will get depleted. Then what? So the time factor has not changed his foreplay, it's not changed his representation. But if the same food is offered to Krishna according to the rules and regulations, okay, you take that. Yes, the body gets nurtured, but the soul gets nurtured. The soul gets its own nutrition. So we are very busy. We are very busy. It says cats and dogs. We're very, very busy in nurturing the material part of our existence, and we are very, very, like very diligently starving the soul of its nutrition. So how is it a holistic life? How is it a holistic life? That we are not actually nurturing our own existence, and then we say that we don't have time. Yes, we will never have time, because the time will not change its representation, its nature. And for us to make that happen, we have to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the time. We are doing all our activities which are in the time, past, present, future. Right? All our activities are pertaining to past, present, future. But Krishna is above the Turya. So it is very important. Understand that how important it is to become Krishna conscious every moment of our life, not just when I'm chanting my rounds, or not just when I'm reading Bhagavatam, or when I'm hearing Bhagavatam, or when I'm giving Bhagavatam class. No, is it like, am I actually nurturing my soul? Is my soul nurtured? And it cannot nurture if they are doing something where the time factor has not changed its representation in our life, where we are still bound, and then we very shamelessly, I'm sorry to use such a word, and say that we don't have time. We will never have time because we are not doing the right thing with the time factor. Okay, so understand that the question itself, when somebody says that God is asking too much, Krishna is asking too much, that come to me alone only, that question itself is coming from the three domains of our existence, which we discussed. But Krishna is asking us to surrender from a fourth domain because he's over there. So we are not there. Yes, it is uncomfortable to get there, but get comfortable with the uncomfortable, because it is going to become the eternal thing. It is going to nurture us eternally. So do the right thing with whatever we are doing. Right? Why do something, putting effort, energy, time, everything, and then still not doing the right thing? My Guru Maharaj gives example to explain this. He says that, let's say that there is a person who is very, very rich, extremely rich, and that person lost its wallet, which was filled with important contacts and also lots of money. Now, some good-hearted person who was not rich but found the wallet, found the address, came and hand-delivered the wallet as it is. Okay, now this rich person becomes grateful and wants to reward this person who brought the wallet back in utter honesty. And the rich person says that, ask me for benediction. Ask me, what can I do for you? And this guy, the person who is not rich, says that, oh, you want to do something for me? There is a nice movie in the theater. Maybe buy me a ticket for the movie. And the rich man gets astonished and says, that's it? Like, I can give you more, you can ask me more. Says, oh, you can do more? Maybe you can give me more money to buy some popcorns and some soft drink. Is that a very good intelligence?
No, Mataji. No.
No, Mataji.
Is so that's what we are doing, that okay, we can do more with our life, we can do more, I can do more with the time, with the energy that I have, the body that I have, I can do more, I can actually go to Krishna, I can use this interface and actually go to Krishna, I can chant more, I can work more, but we are like, I don't have time, I don't have time for all this, the time is not there. See how menial it stands in front of where Krishna is looking at us, and where we are looking at our own self. That's why we need somebody like Narmuni, somebody like Sukdev Goswami, somebody like Prabhupada, somebody like our spiritual masters, who can say that you need to do more. Do more in this way. Do something which will actually nurture you to the entirety, not just nurture your body or nurture your intelligence. It won't get satisfaction. It's because there is no eternity. Satisfaction comes from the eternity, and eternity comes from serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Krishna says this, that Prakriti Sthani Karshati, Mana Shashtani Indriyani, Prakriti Sthani Karshati. I think we have discussed it many times. Understand the verse that Mana Shashta Indriyani. So Mana means mind. So including the mind, the living entity. Living entity is what is doing, has situated itself in the Prakriti Sthani. So Mana Shashta Indriyani, Prakriti Sthani. 5 senses and 6th element is mind. Using that, the living entity has established itself in the material nature, Prakriti Sthani, and what is it doing? Karshati, struggling. But actually, what is it? Jiva Bhuta. Like, what is the verse? Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. What is the first line? Please remind me. Mam eva ansha jiva loke. Thank you. So, Mam eva ansha. Actually, my part and parcel. Who is my part and parcel? Jiva. Which Jiva? Loke. Who is situated itself in this material world? When is it my part and parcel? Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Always. This soul is my part and parcel. This soul which has situated itself in the material world is my part and parcel. How? Always. Even if it has situated itself in the material world or spiritual world, it is actually my part and parcel. But what is it doing? Has 6 senses, including the mind, and with that has situated itself in the material nature and is struggling. So it is a struggle. Okay, understand that we are struggling. We are struggling to get out of a situation all the time, every single minute. But we'll never be able to come out because we are not going towards a 4th dimension or abhava. So Narad Muni's verdict stands beyond and above and beyond Daksha's instruction. So if Daksha's children follow Narad Muni's instruction and disregards Daksha's instruction, then they're not wrong. And neither is Narad Muni trying to take them away from their responsibilities, because Narad Muni caught the psyche that they are actually Paramhansa. The nature is there. It's the nature. Where in do you think that Narad Muni has actually not discouraged a grahastha from leaving their family, but has actually encouraged to become Krishna conscious together? Or Narad Muni has encouraged this living entity to get married? Here we're saying that he's encouraging them to become brahmacharis, but can you give me an example otherwise, where Narad Muni has said this or done the otherwise? Where? Priyavrata. What, Mataji? What in Priyavrata? Speak up. Ranandi Mataji, please. The example that comes to my mind is this hunter, Mrigari. He said he was doing it to maintain his family. Narad Muni didn't say leave your family. Narad Muni said, I will maintain your family. You just retire to the holy place next to the holy river and sit there with your wife and chant the holy names of the Lord. He didn't say that leave your family, leave your wife. He said the otherwise. If you think of more examples, then let me know. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections, complaints? Am I audible?